So the book is, at a very high level, it's an exploration of Indian mythology, the Vedic scriptures, and a connection of the past and the present. I call it a fantasy thriller. It's set in modern times, revolves around two teenagers whose lives are turned topsy-turvy by a series of events which involve a character who suddenly turns up from the past, from 5,000 years ago. He is the son of Bhrigu, and nobody knows exactly what he wants or what he's after. And both these children suddenly find themselves sucked into this adventure where they find hidden worlds, they use mantras, they discover secret mantras, and they find themselves trying to decipher an ancient prophecy from the time of the Saptarishis. So that's really what the son of Bhrigu is about. So Son of Bhrigu is book one, and this is where the whole world gets introduced. So I've actually created a world, a parallel world to our contemporary society, where there are hidden secrets, and there's a secret society that's protecting humanity in the age of Kali Yuga. And as the series evolves, there's going to be a deeper exploration of Indian mythology. Our heritage is very rich. The stories in whether it's the Vedas, the Purans, the Mahabharata, there's so much over there which can be woven into our everyday lives today, and there's so much we take for granted. So the book and the series really explores what if question. What if there is a hidden power in mantras, for example, which are used every day by people for various purposes? What if we've forgotten how to use them well? Because mantras in the Mahabharata, in the scriptures, could do marvelous things. Today they're words. They make us feel good because of the sound, but what if there's knowledge that is still available in ancient texts locked away, but we can't understand what's in it? So the book explores a lot of things through the lives of this group of children who are part of who get sucked into this secret world, so to speak. I have been asked this, and it's a very interesting question. So first, let me start by saying I'd be flattered if people do think it's the DESI Harry Potter, because I'm a great fan of J.K. Rowling, and what she's done with that world is amazing. But I see differences for various reasons. One is everything I've used in my book is very real. So for example, I can't think of anyone alive or dead who's used magic spells, but everyone uses mantras. And there's a difference between magic spells and mantras. You may say that the gurukuls in my book resemble Hogwarts, but gurukuls have been around thousands of years before Hogwarts. In fact, I'd go one step further and say I've really been inspired by the Mahabharata and all the ancient texts, the Sanskrit texts. And if people see a resemblance between Harry Potter and what I'm writing, then I think J.K. Rowling may have also been inspired by the Mahabharata and the ancient Vedic texts. But really, I think this is the first book of possibly 5 in the series. And I think as the story unfolds, the difference between the direction the Harry Potter story takes and the Pataala Prophecy series takes will become very, very clear, because like I said, it's based very, very solidly on, so for example, I've woven a lot of the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam into the book itself. Talk about the law of karma, how mantras are used, the siddhis, and this is all from the Gita or the Bhagavad Puran. And it's of course woven into a fictional story, so the children reading it, they're not getting a lecture, but they're imbibing that philosophy as well. And that will become more and more evident as it goes along. I could actually point out each one of the statements that you made about this. I could actually tell you how it differs, but then that would be a spoiler alert for the rest of the series. It is a tough combination, and actually I don't know how I do it, but if I was to think about it and try and give you an answer, I think you need to understand the mythology very well. There's a lot of reading I've done. I've been researching now for the last maybe 12 or 15 years. So there's been a lot of reading already done of all the texts that I've used as a basis. So whether it's the Gita, anyway, is a part of the Mahabharata, which I've read twice. The Purans are there, and a whole host of other texts. And I also consult with experts. So one of the persons who's been helping me has been studying and teaching the Vedic texts for the last 20 years. So there's a lot of expertise that that I draw upon from other people as well to make sure I get my facts right. So as long as I'm researching that, when I'm researching history and science, again I go to historians, noted historians across the world, and people who are experts in the scientific disciplines that I'm pulling into the book. So I think that helps, because if I get my facts correct, then weaving a credible story based on those facts becomes much, much easier. Then the writing becomes much easier. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. So I think what they're going to enjoy the most is a lot of the mystery I've created around the mythological characters that I've introduced in the book, and the methods that the children, the protagonists in the book, use to battle the or to face the challenge that humanity, that the world faces as a result of these, the character from the past coming in into our contemporary world. Because there are twists and turns in the plot, there are secrets galore. There are, in the forthcoming books, more than this book. In the forthcoming books, there will be riddles and puzzles to be solved. They'll be hunting for different things, and I found that children enjoy this. They enjoy the sense of being on a treasure hunt, solving puzzles and riddles, and they actually love being surprised. So they're going to be surprises. They're going to make assumptions based on the first book, which will be overturned by the time they reach the third book. And I think it's going to be a good roller coaster ride for them. So I see quite a few ways in which they can use the book. One big thing for me is the exposure of our children, this generation of children, to our heritage and mythology. Our generation had our parents and our grandparents, and we used to listen to stories about the Mahabharata and the Ramayana and all the other mythological stories. We grew up with a knowledge and exposure to this, which is much greater than most children today have. I think it's just the fact that everyone's so busy, parents are so busy, and there really isn't a curriculum for mythology which educates children. So I think children are definitely going to learn a lot about our heritage, and I think that's important, because if we don't know where our past lies and who we actually are, our actual identity, how are we going to build a future for ourselves? And I think this could be one thing which teachers could, and parents alike, could use. So rather than parents sitting down and saying, hey, I'm going to tell you a story from the Mahabharata, they could encourage children to read or read out the story to them, and it would help the children to learn so much more about being Indian, about our ancient heritage. So that's one application. I think it's also good from a perspective of encouraging the reading habit in children. It opens up their minds. They learn more things because there's histories, there's science, there's mythology, all combined, and in an interesting story. So they don't get bored. It's not a lecture. It's not a textbook. They're having fun, but they're learning at the same time. So I think it definitely can be used by teachers and parents alike to help them to learn more, to encourage them to read more. I think I deliberately keep the language and the style very simple. So I also think that children could also learn how to write stories, how to write for their examinations. I actually had a child who questioned me during one of my interactions and said, you write these 90,000 page books, and when we have to write a 900-word essay or a story, we have a problem. Well, I would say the more you read, the more exposure you get in terms of how to write and what to write and how to structure your thoughts in a way that you write something that's good. So from an academic perspective, that's also very good. From lots of children today want to become writers when they grow up, and I think this book can help them there as well.